Deion Sanders finds a way to boost morale among the Buffaloes while still plagued by health issues. Deion Sanders has never been shy about turning a message into a movement. And this week he unveiled another one tailor-made for a team that needs clarity, conviction, and a spark. With Colorado sitting at 3-4 and struggling to regain the rhythm that once defined their best stretches of play, the head coach introduced an internal program built around a simple, emphatic declaration: I am. The idea is straightforward but potent. Identify, elevate, and publicly signal the players whose habits, reliability, and leadership translate on Saturdays. In a locker room that has felt fragmented by accolades, nil realities, personalities, and perception, Sanders is refocusing the conversation around something far more elemental: trust. Even as he continues to manage his own health challenges, he's doubling down on intentional culture building, trying to harden the Buffalo's edge and recenter the program on accountability that can be seen, measured, and felt. The genesis of the I am concept is the recognition that status has a way of seeping into the fabric of a team. Players notice who has awards, who garners headlines, who drives what, and who dresses how. That hierarchy, mostly external and often cosmetic, can erode cohesion if it's not redirected towards standards that actually win games. Sanders has made it clear he wants to strip away the noise and spotlight the habits that matter. Who finishes every rep, who shows up early and stays late, who listens, who leads, who communicates, who practices with intention, and who translates all of that into performance under pressure. The shirt is a signal, not a souvenir. It's meant to say, in bold letters, "You can count on me." And it is only earned when the staff believes that's true. To make that judgment real, Sanders is putting responsibility on his coaches to nominate players based on daily observation. The criteria are deliberately holistic. It isn't just about splash plays. It's about what happens on Tuesday and Wednesday when nobody is keeping score. It's about film study, training room diligence, strain on the final 5 yards of a sprint, and the discipline to align, communicate, and execute when a practice period gets chaotic. When those standards hold across a week, they tend to hold on game day. And if the Buffaloes are going to turn the corner, they need a critical mass of players whose work has gravity. People whose presence steadies a huddle, who bring clarity to a sideline, and who anchor the tempo of a drive or a defensive series. Sanders has set a simple target: find 7 on offense and 7 on defense that everyone in the building trusts without hesitation. It's a pragmatic threshold, the kind coaches use when seasons get choppy and the path forward has to be simplified. Pick the core you can rely on, make their roles undeniable, and ask everyone else to chase that standard. When a team is thin on depth and searching for consistency, concentrating leadership can stabilize the operation. Fewer breakdowns, cleaner substitutions, crisper communication. The point isn't to exclude. It's to establish a center of gravity that brings the rest of the roster into alignment. There's a psychological edge to this, and it's very much in keeping with Sanders' style. He understands how recognition can sharpen focus, how scarcity elevates value, and how peer validation can accelerate growth. The shirt is tangible, but the real currency is trust. When teammates watch a select group being held up as the baseline, the message lands in 2 directions. For those wearing it, the expectation hardens. You cannot take a snap off because your example is the standard. For those chasing it, the target is attainable but demanding. Membership is earned, not bestowed. The better that loop functions, the more a team's energy turns inward and competitive in the right way, less about optics and more about ownership. All of this is happening as Sanders continues to navigate his own health issues, something that has hovered around the program for months. He has been transparent about the challenges without indulging in excuse-making, and that posture has been instructive for his players. There is a visible determination to lead at full volume even on days when his body may not fully cooperate. That juxtaposition, limitations met with stubborn commitment, has become part of Colorado's story. It reframes adversity from something to endure into something to leverage. If the head coach can keep pushing, then no one else gets to blink. It's a subtle but powerful morale boost, one that refracts the I am mantra through a lens of resilience. Colorado needs every bit of that steel. The offense has flashed, then sputtered, then flashed again, struggling to string together the kind of sustained drives that demoralize opponents and protect the defense. Penalties and negative plays have a way of sneaking into crucial moments. In some games, the Buffaloes have looked explosive early, only to stall as opponents adjusted. In others, slow starts have dictated uphill climbs. Depth concerns on both sides of the ball have only magnified the margin for error. When rotations get shortened or roles shift due to attrition, continuity becomes hard to find. The effect is cumulative. The more stress the defense absorbs, the harder it is for the offense to rediscover rhythm, and vice versa. Against that backdrop, the Buffaloes' upset of a ranked Iowa State team served as more than a single good Saturday. It was proof that the ceiling still exists, that Colorado can compete with teams who bring both pedigree and discipline. It reminded the roster what it feels like when the plan holds, when complementary football takes shape, and when belief crystallizes into execution. But one bright afternoon does not fix the roller coaster. Momentum is fragile unless it's reinforced by habits that withstand the next storm. That's exactly where the I Am initiative fits, turning an emotional bounce into structural durability. The locker room component is key. Mid-season is a hard time to rewire culture, but it can be done if the message is simple and the application is daily. Sanders is pushing back against the centrifugal forces that pull a team apart. Social media narratives, comparisons to past weeks, the endless churn of outside opinions. He's reframing status around service. Are you the teammate who brings order to chaos? Are you the player who does the unglamorous work that makes others better? Are you the voice that steadies a huddle after a turnover or a sudden change moment? Teams that weather adversity depend on those habits, and they're often the difference between losing close and closing out. There is also a tactical benefit to identifying a core of 14. Practice can be structured with greater precision when coaches know exactly which players anchor critical situations. 2-minute drill, red zone package, third and medium, backed up offense, sudden change defense. These sequences are more coherent when the same voices are setting protections, echoing calls, and aligning adjustments. That continuity shows up on Saturdays in subtle ways. Fewer busted assignments, better spacing on scramble drills, faster pursuit angles, smarter body control on contested catch points. When the margins are thin, those details move the scoreboard. Sanders' broader philosophy has always connected confidence to competition. He wants his players to believe loudly, but he insists that belief be earned through consistent behaviors. The I Am shirt is symbolic, but it's also a filter. If you claim it, you have to live it. The staff's role is to keep that circle honest, to ensure nominations reflect what happens in the dark and in the noise, not just the highlight plays that trend. If the process holds, the result is a locker room where the loudest voice is the standard itself. All of this converges on a week that carries real weight. Up next is Utah, a program under Kyle Whittingham that has built its reputation on discipline, physicality, and ruthlessly sound football. The Utes rarely beat themselves, and the recent stretch of results underscores why they are perennially respected. They dominated a ranked Arizona State team, then found a way to edge BYU in a tight, tense game. Two very different modes of winning that speak to their adaptability. Their only losses have come against top-tier opposition inside the top 17, which makes them a measuring stick as much as an opponent. Colorado will arrive as underdogs in a hostile, detail-oriented environment, precisely the kind of setting that tests resolve and preparation. Beating Utah requires stacking the boring things. It's not just about a handful of explosive plays. It's about turn-by-turn discipline. Win first down often enough to stay out of predictable passing situations. Communicate protection and site adjustments with urgency when the crowd noise spikes. Tackle in space, fit gaps with leverage, and make them earn every yard. Take care of the football and respect field position. Those are the essentials that coaches preach year-round, but the teams that actually apply them against Utah tend to be the teams that survive the fourth quarter. For Colorado, that means the IM core has to function as the team's metronome, setting the tempo, resetting composure after setbacks, and ensuring the next play is always the focus.